following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.
This isn't just a game. This is iRacing. The final 2-week stretch begins right now as we get ready to crown a champion in the All-American Cup Series season. We'll be crowning the first 3-time champion in season history or series history coming up shortly. Will we see a new champion? Will we see a new winner tonight? Will we see a familiar winner go to victory lane? A lot of answers that will be made this evening to the questions in front of Charlotte Motor Speedway, virtually here on iRacing. The 13th race, the penultimate round of season number 8 is in front of us as we get ready to go for 200 miles here at Charlotte. I am the captain. We welcome you in on this Thursday evening as we are in the Queen City and ready to have some fun. The All-American Cup Series has had a fantastic season that could make or break tonight officially when it's over with. Will it be Mark Whitley winning his 3rd straight championship or putting himself in position to go to Homestead next week and winning the championship? Is tonight a night where Stephen Miles or Casey Carrington get themselves back in to the playoff race? Both are possible when it's all over with. And I'm so used to the word playoffs, I just threw it in there, and there's not a playoff in this series. But either way, tonight, Charlotte Motor Speedway should be a lot of fun, and we look forward to having it for you here on the Captain eSports Network here this evening. Presenting sponsor here tonight, and a big shout-out to Stephen Melnick, and we'll show you the logo here in just a little bit, but kind of a name that you would think it's made up or whatever, but I've come to find out it is an actual true name, and I say that because, well, it's kind of based off of a movie. If you are one that has seen Disney's Moana, well, basically, that's where the title of this business comes from. And off of an idea of Melnick and a family member, they talked about it, and they were like, hey, we need to come up with an idea or something for the title of this race. And, well, we got the Queen City 200 presented by Kakamora HR Management, as we're looking forward to the presenting sponsor of tonight's race here, and tonight's in the league, also a presenting partner, Kakamora HR Management. So looking forward to the fun here momentarily. 29 cars ready to go here as we are about 40 seconds away from qualifying. Some big news here. Got Joseph McWhorter back in the field. Of course, he's been doing some real-life racing, and looks like that has slowed down here a little bit. He's back in the field, and he's brought some speed with him. He's P1 right now in practice. All the lap times pretty much on top of another, as Mark Whitley 3rd in practice. Of course, Mark with a victory here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Casey Carrington also has a victory, which actually came in April here at Charlotte as he went to victory lane in this race. But needless to say, you got those guys who could go to victory lane. Stephen Miles, who's had his career season, 3 wins, and he's looking for a 4th one here tonight at Charlotte. And if he could get that, could pull him back in to the reign for a championship, along with the battling with Mark Whitley. But not only that, we got a season title that is going to be in play here for 2024, and that could be actually done with by the end of tonight when it's over with. But right now, let's go to qualifying. Let's go down to the track as qualifying is presented by MHD Designs. Mike Husby and the Designs Pull Award as 29 cars go out here and run laps to see who can be the fastest and win the pole for this 200-mile event in the daylight. Which I know kind of looks weird to a lot of people because you're not used to seeing a daylight Charlotte race. And a lot of the races have been at night. But when I see the Gen 4 car on the track here, I cannot help but think about the old October race that would happen in Charlotte. That was a daytime race, believe it or not. And as a matter of fact, the whole title of the race, the UAW GM Quality 500. It's like I just remember it. As Daniel Drew going to be the first car we watch onto the track. Of course, 2 laps around this 1.5 mile track that was built back in the 1960s. Curtis Turner helped put this track together. It was supposed to have been done before the 1960 World 600, but unfortunately that race was delayed till June, actually, because of just the track getting worked on and weather getting into play and so on and so forth. As right off the bat, Mark Whitley to the pole, 29.87 on his first lap. And right there, Daniel Rosenberg, 29.67. What a lap there. As Rosenberg trying to put the upset card out there. And oh, by the way, as I look at the numbers, I want to make sure I'm in the right car here. That is about 0.6, 0.3 off the pole. Giroux's going to go around Whitley with a 56. Rosenberg a 67. He's still second. And into the wall goes the 92 car. And a backup car coming out there. I was wanting to make sure I looked at the right track, and I did. Mark Whitley at 29.23 is the track record. I was looking up at the... You know what? Actually, let me back up here a second, because I'm getting Charlotte tracks mixed up. Mark Whitley had the old Charlotte record, 29.23. That's on the 08 Charlotte Motor Speedway. The current Charlotte Motor Speedway's track record is a 30.024, so that is now gone by about a half second, 29.56. According to my notes here is what I'm seeing as the track record officially now by Mark Whitley. So great lap by him. Let's see if anybody can get him. Topin Keefe, 29.65. He goes P2. See if anybody else can get up there. Is McWhorter, 29.68. He's fourth. Trying to get us to a car here who's on track. All right, well, we're just going to not cooperate. Here we go. There's somebody. Stephen Miles, give me the one car. As he's already... Or actually might be on his first lap right now to come to the checkered flag. He sure is. As Kyle Gray, 19th right now in the 10 car. As Miles gripping and ripping, kind of missed the bottom there a little bit. Car slid up. Casey Carrington in the purple. He's going to want that track record that is held by this guy right here, Stephen Miles. As Carrington, 29.55, goes P1. First, I should say second lap for Miles, 29.68, so he will not back up his track record run. Right now it is Casey Carrington's with about 40 seconds left, and he has gotten it by literally a half second now. Very easy to get both confused, but I know it's in the notes and stuff, and I'm looking over here at the track records and all the tracks, and of course you got the Charlotte 2018 track, and then right below it, the 2008 track, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, Whitley, 29.23, that's actually on the old track. So still, though, good laps from all these guys here. They're going to be the fastest cars. Carrington and Whitley going to start there on the front row, it looks like, officially, as everybody else has done. So congratulations to the Charlotte winner back in May, Casey Carrington, winning the Mike Husby Designs Pole Award here for the Queen City 200, presented by Kakamora HR Management, as we go trackside for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
See if I come back here. There we are. Back we are. I didn't even realize I'm sitting here talking to you guys the whole time. Didn't even realize I was off the air, so I apologize for the inconvenience there. Yikes. As we just went green, Mark Whitley to the front. Going to bring McWhorter with him to the outside lane. Of course, our one car out of shape back here in the back. Just got distracted by that. Looks like everybody going to be okay. That was the 17 of James Silvers. I'm not sure why my stream shut off like that, but definitely interesting. Yeah, our camera's presented by TrackCams 22. You can check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at trackcams22.com. So basically, you guys missed the whole entire pre-race show, it sounds like. It said stuck on the flag. That's interesting. So I'll try to get you caught up here as we go, but we combine complete lap number 2. Already, Whitley and McWhorter looking pretty good. 1-2. Tobin Keefe up to 3rd. Casey Carrington 4th. And Zach Rogers up to the top 5. I'll have to keep an eye on the stream. I'm not sure. Like, I know I didn't hit the stop button. I was nowhere near it all the time here. But either way, who knows? First battle on track. Let's go back here to the 13th position, that red, yellow, and green Mountain Dew looking car. Brian Strunk as he battles Justin Ray, 13th and 14th there. Everybody else single file up front as they race their way down the back straightaway here. As mentioned earlier, they started racing back in 1960 here. And raced ever since. Of course, this track had Lowe's as a sponsor for a little bit during the Jimmy Johnson dominant era. So we'll go over the point scenario real quickly here and kind of get you caught up in the little pre-race show that you guys didn't hear me do. Basically, what was all said and done. Basically, we showed you the point standings, and here they are real quickly on the screen. That's Mark Whitley, Stephen Miles, Casey Carrington. Those 3 guys still with a mathematical shot to get back into the championship race here tonight. Whitley could actually win the championship tonight if Miles finishes 20th or worse here this evening. So there's a possibility of that here this evening. That is where we sit there. The overall point standings, right here with Mark Whitley and Casey Carrington, Stephen Miles, all 70 or more points back. Whitley tonight with a just simple finish of the race. We'll put him officially in the championship, or should clinch the championship if I can learn how to talk again, and I seem to have lost that talent. And he'll be the champion of 2024 overall here in the All-American Cup Series. Kakamora HR Management, the sponsor here tonight. So big shout out to Stephen Melnick for sponsoring the race here, being a premier partner of this Queen City 200. As everybody's single file for the most part here, still Ray and Strunk back here battling for the 12th position. Keefe still running 3rd. Zach Rogers has now moved to the 4th position ahead of his teammate there, Casey Carrington, as Rogers starts to come on, one of the hottest drivers here these last few weeks. This 19 car looking pretty sporty right now. You see Keefe running a little higher up the track there in the 3rd position, but otherwise everybody kind of painting the bottom. Little Bob Ross in that bottom lane right now. Back here, Stephen Miles trying to get around Steve Ritter with Daniel Giroux, Mike Husby in that 6 car. As we'll complete 9 laps. If you're expecting a lot of cautions tonight, I would say don't. And the reason being is we look at the race history here. But it's supposed to go off track, but looks like we're okay. Race history here does not see a lot of cautions. As I look back, there have been 2 races with 10 plus cautions, and they were in the first 3 events back in July of 2021 and October of 2022. There are 10 cautions. Otherwise, we have had less than 3 in every race at Charlotte. So, got to go back almost 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, before you see cautions have more than 10 in a race. So, chances are we're going to see some green flag racing and some green flag pit stops and even some battles amongst teammates here as McCorder putting the pressure on. And, well, right on cue, here's a caution. Ryan Strunk is spun around. And there's the broadcaster's jinx right there, live and in person. Caution out first time. Thank you guys for, by the way, communicating with me. I unfortunately didn't see it during all that. I was over here just talking and going through notes. Didn't even peek over here to stream to see something was going on. So, but I do appreciate the communication. Take a look at what happened to the 67. Going down the back straightaway here. Something similar to what we saw in last night's race at Michigan. You get these cars, as the tires start to wear out a little bit, they become a little, I don't even know how the right way to word this, floaty down the back straightaway. And this is going to bring some cars to pit road, so let's jump live and I'll explain all this. But first cars on pit road, as looks like all but 4 cars going to stay out. And everybody else on pit road here. And I'm assuming this will be the top off gas. I don't know if we're going to see tires here or not. I see McCorder's car lifted. Casey Carrington, a few others lifting up here. So it looks like we are going to see tires on somebody's car. Dylan Rosenberg going to be the first to take 2 tires as the race off pit road, if not fuel only. Rosenberg, Ritter, and then Whitley, Giroux, McCorder, Carrington. And you can see all those single digits. Those are gas-only cars. And those in double digits, the 14.5s and stuff like that, those are your cars on tires. All right, let's go back to this accident. Charlotte, very traditional that you can see the car almost feels like it's floating, almost like there's a dead spot in the wheel. And let's go to the crash cam, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Watch how this 67 goes down the back straightaway, and then all of a sudden it kind of moves a little bit. It's okay right here, okay right here. You see how all of a sudden it kind of bobbles a little bit there. And Thompson was right on the left rear and turned him. So caution out here for the first time, and this gives us a chance to catch up on some things here. And let's start with the team points. Laser Racing pretty much has clinched it with a good run here tonight. They'll be the champions of the team championship, so congratulations to Miles and Matthew Weeks, Alex Bryce, and all those guys who run for Laser Racing. Of course, CX2 there in second, Cornerstone Motorsports, Velocity, and NA Motorsports in 5th. Rookie of the Year standing, Spence Thompson just has to finish ahead of the Charles Van Schuyt car. If he can do that, then he will officially be the Rookie of the Year, despite missing a couple races here during the season. So we'll see how that battle all points out. And then Chevrolet, of course, has won the team or the manufacturer title without doing any kind of blocking. Dodge, Ford, Pontiac, all within, or I should say Dodge going to be all alone in second, and Ford and Pontiac still battling for the 3rd position. And that kind of gets you caught up with things. And the one other thing you missed during the apparent break during the broadcast was us talking to Casey Carrington about winning the pole, and basically explained how The lap was shocking to him. He didn't expect to run that fast of a lap, which of course was a track record lap. And he was just hoping to get to the end, hopefully see a good race here this evening. And we'll see how that all transpires. So, all right, we've caught up from that little break. As Tobin Keefe brings him back to the green flag. Front four, no tires. 3 of those 4 did not come to pit road. Dylan Rosenberg, the first to pit. Ritter, Whitley, Giroux, McCorder, and Casey Carrington and Austin Bloom, your top 10. As Whitley, a little tail slap off of 2. Now, tires will play a role at this track. Carr to the outside wall, Stan Carnathan. And all of a sudden, there's your second caution. Could this be a sign of something different here tonight? I think Trevor McLaughlin also getting involved in that wreck. He's actually returned to the track, but what happened to the 97 car here? Yeah, James Silvers to his outside. There's Justin Thompson behind him. And Silver's going to try to slide her in there 3 wide, and unfortunately, a right rear hook. I was just seeing if you guys were paying attention, so thank you very much for paying attention. I appreciate it. Make sure my microphone was on, you know. Carnathan bringing out the second caution here after some contact with Silvers, so a little aggression coming into play here. There you see the McLaughlin car getting sent into the infield. As other cars will come to pit road here and get some tires and fuel worked on. Of course, next week, the final race, Homestead Miami Speedway, to finish it out. This All-American Cup Series season. Of course, they'll return. As far as I know, they'll return. Season 9 coming up February in Daytona, likely. Let's get Melnick. Let's talk to him really quickly. Of course, Melnick is the sponsor of this race and a premier partner now of the All-American Cup Series. Let's get Melnick up here. Steve, you got a copy?
I got a copy.
Hey, buddy. So let's talk a little bit about this here name of your HR management team. Obviously, we know, for those who watch Disney movies, Kakamora, the little critters, if you will, that spit things at you or whatever. Unique looking critters, but either way, the name though comes from a family member. You kind of shared this story, and if you wouldn't mind, with the people here, share your story with this name.
Yeah, I was coming up. I'd had a couple clients come on board that I was doing independent HR consulting, so I needed to form business, and like I had trouble coming up with a name myself. So my daughter come up with she's like, oh, why don't you call it the little coconut guys from Moana? I'm like, Kakamora? I'm like, hey, I mean that's a unique name. It has some value to it. Why not?
Oh, of course, as I think of it, I think of course the rock one. But no, that's funny, man. Well, hey, obviously doing some pretty good stuff here. Some HR management. That's got to be a pain in the tail to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, I got people calling me during the race all the time. I have to just ignore them for like an hour or so.
You tell Lewis not to call you.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Lewis, wherever you are, man. Yeah, we're thinking of you.
Yeah, I hope he's doing well. In all seriousness, but obviously, man, great job, man. Appreciate. I'm sure Casey appreciates it. And we're going to enjoy this, and no spitting darts at anybody, okay?
Yeah, I might need to spit some darts on some of those tires and get some of these guys out of the race.
Yeah, it'd be called bleeding tires, and don't do that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
All right, man. You have a good race, man.
Hey, you too. Hey, you're the one racing. I'm just talking.
Hey, I enjoy every race you do, so.
I appreciate it, buddy. Now I got to remember what channel you go to. I should know this.
The PM Broke channel, yep.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You can say it. Anyways, Piston Broke channel. I forgot he goes down there. So, all right, coming to the green, lap number 19. So his daughter. That's a pretty cool story. Pretty good right there, I'd say, huh? So Tobin Keefe leading this race. Zach Rogers, Mike Husby, Dylan Rosenberg, Mark Whitley. Going to bring him to the green flag as we complete lap number 19 of this Queen City 200 presented by Kakamora HR Management. If you're having HR trouble, call Stephen Melnick. As Keefe for the great restart there. Zach Rogers, Mike Husby. Rosenberg up to the third position, trying to hold off Husby now, and he got a battle between McCorder and Whitley. AC Carrington back there in the 9 car behind his pack in the 6th position. Look at Whitley going to try to put this 3 wide with Husby and Rosenberg. Got to be careful. And around goes Husby into the wall. Up here in the front. Going to take McCorder with him. And others involved in a 3rd caution. Apparently the patients got left at Halloween. Let's see what happened here to bring the 3rd caution. We blame the... Mark Whitley gets a little bit of damage, but not too much. He should be fine. Well, let's get an actual replay here of what took place. McCorder with that Harpoon Design number 73 car to the outside of his teammate there. You had Rosenberg in the 91. And McCorder's going to get a pretty good run here top side as they go 3 wide. And I don't know if Husby ever got the call that they were 3 wide. And you know what? He probably didn't. And I'll explain this one as I'm thinking about this a little more and more now as other cars come to pit road, including those damaged in the wreck. But let's go back here because this is where I go back to the whole real spotter deal. It's very easy to blame one of these 3 cars and very easy to blame Mike Husby for coming up the track. But in order for his spotter, for Mike's spotter, to call 3 wide here, which I assume he doesn't have a live spotter, well, right now he's technically only 2 wide. McCorder has to get all the way up to Mike Husby to technically have the spotter call 3 wide for Mike. Right now, they're still technically 2 wide. Now, Husby, yes, probably should know that McCorder's up there somewhere. But as far as he knows, he's only 2 wide right now. It's just a tough spot right there. It's just a tough situation altogether for those 3 cars. But when you look at it from the fault there for the accident or that kind of thing, I mean, you could easily say, yeah, Mike should have known that there was a second car out there. At least by just being aware, maybe. Some could say that, you know, Mike didn't even know because he was more worried about Dylan Rosenberg and there was another car out there. Some could say McCorder didn't need to go 3 wide that early. Some could say that we should EOL Telder. That's a That's an inside joke, by the way, for those who don't know. Either way, it's an accident races in racing here, and that kind of thing happens. Third caution waves here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. 24 laps complete. Next time by. And we'll see if these guys straighten up a little bit, because if we have any more cautions the rest of the race, then we officially have the third highest caution to race already in series history at Charlotte. Husby is off the track now, getting damage fixed in the 6 car, so he's going to obviously not have a chance to win this race, and maybe he'll try to get some laps back here. Dylan Rosenberg will restart 26th. McCorder restarting 22nd here for the restart. As Tobin leads him back to the green. Tobin Keefe, I have to look at the numbers, but I believe is leading the first laps of his career. Michael Whitley, who just had that inside scrape of the wall, running second now. Zach Rogers, Casey Carrington, Matthew Weeks up to the top 5 after starting 23rd. As here comes Whitley to the bottom. Tobin trying to stay on that right rear to try to bring him back. Not able to do it as of now. Sends it into turn 1, but that car is going to get tight, slide up the track, and move the 77 back to the lead. Mark Whitley is 3 wide back here for third. As Whitley backs out of it. Or not Whitley, sorry. Weeks backs out of it. And puts the Spider-Verse 2x2 battling for position. Stephen Miles also in the picture back there. Justin Thompson now coming into play here. Down the back straightaway, the May winner in that 9 car, Casey Carrington. I say the May winner because this is not a habit. The April winner, technically, of this race. So go down to 3 and 4 on board of the 9 car. We look back at his teammate Zach Rogers losing a spot to Justin Thompson. And Austin Bloom off the pace here. Got that car a little out of shape. I'm pretty sure if he wrecks his car tonight, we'll never see the Cinnamon Toast Crunch car again. I appreciate the viewers hanging out here this evening. A reminder, you can always click that subscribe button to be a part of the Captain eSports Network. Of course, I think the news has kind of gotten out to everybody now that yes, I am stepping away altogether from streaming and stuff as we wrap up all the seasons here on the Captain eSports Network when it's all said and done. So it'd be really cool and an honor to have everybody be a part of the channel here for these last 6 months or so. So basically how that's going to go is as we wrap up a season in a league, we will step away from that respective league and cut back each night until it's all over with in April. And that's when the captain becomes dad full time, even though I've already won. But I'm going to do what I got to do. But obviously that's more for that time period. But again, the more important thing, we'd love for you to be a part of the final sale, if you will, with the captain. So as we look at the 92 of Daniel Giroux, looking low on the 56. This is the battle for 10th. Trey Holmes in that 56 car. I'm used to him being in a Dale Jr. looking car. Now he's in a Michael Waltrip looking car. And he's got the 21 of Christopher Murphy to his inside. Got the 24 of Sargent there behind him, Steve Ritter and others. As up front, Carrington. Thompson, Weeks all got by Keith for the third, fourth, and fifth position, second, third, and fourth position now. And Stephen Miles going to work by for fifth. So that 95 starting to kind of fall off here a little bit. Sorry, the 85 car starting to fall off here a little bit. With those older tires. Brantley, I appreciate that, man. Coming from a guy who is, you could argue, the best painter in iRacing. And if you get a chance, go check out Harpoon Designs paint scheme, by the way, if you haven't already. There's Carrington trying to put pressure on Whitley. His one chance to get back into this playoff hunt after a couple of rough runs in the last few weeks. Carrington knows he has to get ahead of Whitley. He has to win this race, and let's be honest, probably needs Whitley to have a little bit of bad luck. But you see Thompson there, third position. Matthew Weeks up to fourth. Stephen Miles up to the fifth spot. See Zach Rogers kind of falling back here. 10th position for the 19 cars. He's kind of struggling on older tires now. He's got the 24 there behind him, and Nick Sargent, the 21 of Christopher Murphy, and Steve Ritter, as these guys all fight it out. Oh, and up in the wall goes James Silvers, the 17 car. Not sure what happened to him, but he has scrubbed the wall pretty hard, and it's going to fall back a few positions. But basically what we have seen here is the cars with fresh tires have maneuvered their way up to the front here. And your top 6 cars all have the newer tires on from that pit stop at lap number 12. And you can go roughly about 35 laps or so on a tank of fuel here, so I would expect in the next 10 laps or so to see the leaders on pit road for the first round of pit stops. There's Spence Thompson looking to lock up the Rookie of the Year, which I could not help but actually notice now from talking about it. Charles Van Schaik is not in the race tonight, so Spence Thompson officially going to be named the Rookie of the Year here this evening. Congratulations to Spence on locking that award up. I was talking about him passing, or I should say outrunning Charles Van Schaik, and just looked through the grid, and I'm like, wait a minute, Charles isn't even here. Was kind of cool to see that Charles's company, Goat Racing, is going to be featured on the Greg Van Alst number 14 car this weekend at Phoenix. So congratulations to Charles on letting that happen. That's a pretty cool deal. Here's Rogers under attack again. Stan Carnathan, who was involved in the second caution, he's got that nose poked back out and now takes the 13th position away. Going to bring Trey Holmes and James Silvers with him. Obviously, with the pit stops coming here in the very near future, more than likely you'll see these cars that did not pit on pit road first. And then obviously the strategy will escalate from there as tires are a premium here at this 1.5 mile Charlotte Motor Speedway. Already see at times falling off by almost 2 seconds after about 30 laps. Tobin Keefe on pit road right now in the 85 car, so he is the first of those cars that did not take tires or fuel, did not come to pit road for that first time, making his first stop of the night here at lap 42. As Carrington looking to the top side, trying to get it to work just a little bit there. Whitley doing a good job catfishing that bottom lane. These guys racing hard with Thompson right there behind them. This would be the corner I would expect that 1 and 2, the top side, to come into play. See if Casey crosses him over here. He got a pretty good run off the corner. And Tobin a 14.97, by the way, for his pit stop. And then the battle on for third now as Miles hangs back there watching. This guy's putting on a great battle now for third. Thompson fighting it out with Matthew Weeks. And the one of Stephen Miles fighting it out there too. But how about the guy in the 6th position back there, Nick Leo, having a great run as Zach Rogers comes to pit road. But Nick Leo, Daniel Giroux, all having a great run here, 6th and 7th positions on those 4 fresh tires. Good to see those guys up here at the front. And that's the one thing about Charlotte that you cannot underestimate. When you look at tracks that official races are at, and even hosted sessions, there really isn't a track that people run more than Charlotte Motor Speedway. No matter what the car is, no matter what the series is. When you ask an iRacer, hey, what track have you run the most? And you almost point to Charlotte right away. And the reason being, you go all the way back to your initial times on iRacing. What's the first track you run in the street stock when you first begin iRacing? It's usually USA or Charlotte. And you just work your way up, and you continuously run Charlotte at different times and different cars. So it's like the one track that everybody knows. So that's where you can see these surprise runs that Daniel Giroux and Nick Leo and those guys are having right now. Trey Holmes up in 11th. As Carrington has got a special guest there behind him. There's Matthew Weeks to the 2nd position, who is outside. So a pretty good Mountain Dew number 11 car. We ride on board with the 9 car. I want to remind you that 40 Racewear has your gloves and shoes to help you enhance your iRacing experience. You can always click on the 40 Racewear link down in the description below the race page. Go check out the great deals that Jim Herrick has. Of course, right now doing a lot of great work in the Indianapolis area. 40 Racewear, where you can put the shoes on and feel like a real driver, and even put the gloves on and enhance your iRacing or sim racing experience. So Weeks all of a sudden is putting the pressure on the 77. So for Tobin Keefe and Zach Rogers, as we watch the battle for the lead, they need this race to play out a little bit. Get all these cars on the pit road for green flag pit stops, and then hope for a yellow to try to cycle back onto the strategy with these cars. Or else they're going to be flirting with disaster short pitting here throughout this race. Trying to break some numbers down here really quickly. Of course, Tobin came in at lap number 41. Of course, that was with 2 cautions, or make that 3 cautions, I'm sorry, to get those 6 extra laps. So let's cut that down to 35. 41 to 35 would get you to 76. Another 35 would get you to 111, which would get you to the finish. So still a two-stopper for the guys who came to pit road. So they have a little bit, we'll see, of an advantage or maybe a little bit of a disadvantage. Only time will tell. As the battle for the lead is on, Weeks to the inside of Whitley. Weeks has been putting a lot of work in. Of course, in another series on weeknights, running a lot of those full distance races and stuff. There might have been some contact right there. Did anybody notice the wiggle out of the 11 car? Let's see this again real quickly here. I think there might have been some contact between the two. Bang right there. Yeah, a little door bang. I think Weeks was just trying to get as high as he could to set up the corner. And they made incidental contact, a little door bang, if you will. So Whitley back to the lead. Carrington, Miles, and Thompson now your top five. Giroux up to 6th. Leo 7th. And look here at the 9th position. Here comes Steve Ritter. As Ritter makes the pass right there on Spence Thompson for the 8th position. Nick Sargent comes to pit road now. So this should be the start of green flag pit stops for the cars that came to pit road under the caution. We complete 55 laps. And here we go. The leaders coming in. Weeks, Carrington, Justin Thompson, Leo. Also to 56 of Trey Holmes, a 21 of Murphy. All on pit road. Austin Bloom coming in to 45 car, 4 tires and fuel. Meanwhile, all of a sudden, Mike Husby's car is changing tires. Now Whitley and Miles and Thompson all coming in. Spencer, that is, or Spence. Yeah, everybody got to watch out for that drain cover over here in turn 1. That can always be the caution that people do not want to see. That's 4 tires and fuel for all these guys. He'll pull away, and we'll see if we get any kind of undercut happening here. As right there's Matthew Weeks going to go by. Carrington's going to go by. There's Thompson. That's just 1 lap right there, pretty much difference on the tires. And Mark Whitley is going to fall at least to the 5th position, it appears. These guys got to get their tires up to temp. Steve Ritter, Stan Carnathan, Stephen Melnick on pit road. As we are just shy of the halfway mark here. Mickey Jr. No, actually, Jules doing pretty well right now. So the leader of this race right now is the 92 of Daniel Giroux, who is yet to pit. Hit it at lap 22. He and Dylan Rosenberg 1-2, James Silvers 3rd, Josh Dillon, Jose Ruiz, Trevor McLaughlin, Justin Ray, Craig Martin. Those cars the only ones left to come to pit road here. And then right now would cycle to Tobin Keefe, who would be the leader of this race. All these guys coming to pit road. Jose Ruiz now inheriting the lead. As we are in the middle of green flag pit stops here, as we ride on board with the 95 or the 85 of Tobin Keefe, and likely going to be the leader of this race. Once this all cycles through, just waiting on Ray, who comes to pit road now, and then Craig Martin and Jose Ruiz, the only two cars left. And when it's all said and done, it will be about a 4-second lead from the 85 to the 19 of Zach Rogers. And then another 1.9 seconds from Rogers back to Matthew Weeks. And then Carrington and Thompson right there on their bumpers. As now Ruiz comes to pit road, and that leaves Craig Martin, the last car. Here, the 5th position right now. There's Weeks up there at 4th, and then of course Carrington and then Thompson right behind them. Mark Whitley's slowly joining this battle, so is Stephen Miles. As look at this, Carrington going for 4th. And might be about to be going for 2nd, I should say, as they got a big run, both of those cars of Weeks and Carrington on Rogers. I mean, all of a sudden, a 2-car battle just became 5 like that, and a 3 wide. Weeks gets shuffled out. Little contact with Rogers, his former teammate. And Weeks thought better of it and backed out. We hit the halfway point. Probably a pretty smart move, actually, on the part of the 11, knowing he's part-time and decided, hey, I'm going to make sure I'm there for the finish of this race. So he backed down to that little pile of cars. That could have been a lot worse if there was some contact made. So Carrington moves to 2nd, Thompson to 3rd. Of course, Whitley, Weeks, and Stephen Miles all up here as they get closer and closer to that 85 car, and there he is, right there in front. That's just like that. Linda Ronstadt right on by. Casey Carrington to the lead. Little Blue Bayou. Thompson up to 2nd. And one of the easiest battles of on the track that are the best to watch right now. So And next Thursday night will be the Homestead Miami Speedway for the finale. We hope you can join us here on the Captain Esports Network as we crown not only the 2024 champion, but the Season 8 champion of the All-American Cup Series season. All part of 4 nights of great racing next week. You can join us starting Monday night. As we race from Chicagoland Speedway in the next-gen car, and then we'll have the 87s at Daytona Tuesday night. Wednesday night, back to Chicagoland Speedway for B cars, and then Homestead for the Gen 4 car on Thursday. So 4 great races lined up for us. As we get closer and closer to Halloween time. Nick Leo, 8th position here as he battles with Spence Thompson and Steve Ritter. Zach Rogers losing spots as he falls back. Everybody else pretty spread out throughout the field here as I look down. Back up here at the front, the battle rages on as Thompson's starting to put pressure on Carrington. Matthew Weeks, Mark Whitley, Stephen Miles, all within 0.3 of a second of each other. This race is wide open for a lot of great cars here. Want to send a shout out to my good old buddy, Mr. Mark, hanging out at MC Racing here in the Fort Wayne area. Of course, streaming us each and every night on his big screens there while customers come in and do some sim racing. And always a fun thing to go do. Just watch random people that really don't have the experience. Just go out there and race a car and see the smile on their face when it's over with. So, pretty cool deal there. Thanks to MC Racing for supporting the Captain Esports Network. As always, if you happen to come into town, stop on in. Right there in downtown. Look at this, 3 wide back here. Keith, Ritter, Leo. Deadpool car, Craig Martin, also in this battle. As Keith lost 5 spots almost right there instantaneously. So this is where you see those difference in tires right now. Those who pitted a little bit early from not pitting under the caution have unfortunately lost their tires and have to continue to fight now. Up here for second, Justin Thompson has lost the 2nd position. He has lost 3rd and now looking to lose 4th as here comes Whitley back in. Thompson fighting as hard as he can. The Georgia driver there. As a matter of fact, 2 Georgia drivers right here in the top 5. Thompson finally falls back as Weeks inherits the lead now. A little less than 60 laps to go here. As Daniel Giroux now underneath Christopher Murphy. This is a battle for the 10th position as Tobin Keefe comes back to pit road here. This should be a scheduled pit stop for him. So who are some drivers to keep an eye on here? If you haven't already gotten some hints from some drivers here, these first 79 laps, who runs well here, who doesn't run well here at Charlotte. As a matter of fact, let's put both Charlotte tracks on here and see how it looks. Oh, in trouble all of a sudden. 56 of Trey Holmes going for a slide. And he's going to save it. And this should keep the race green. Yeah, great save there by the 56. As they roll down the back straightaway here. It's the 7th race overall here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Who has the best finishing position? Of course, you just look right up here towards the front and you'll see most of his names. Mark Whitley, 4 starts, an average of 3.3. Matthew Weeks, 4 starts, and an average of 4.5. Casey Carrington made 6 starts and an average of 6.7, including, of course, the win last season. And as we work our way through the field, mostly those guys. Stephen Miles, an 8.3 average finish in 3 starts. There's some guys with good average finishes here. Mark Whitley, Matthew Weeks actually entered tonight's race. 130 laps led apiece in the 6 races here. So obviously the 77 is kind of pulled away there, but the 11 is leading. So not surprising, I guess, that these two would be leading this race, huh? 2 all-time leaders at Charlotte Motor Speedway in laps led in the All-American Cup Series. As Whitley under attack from Miles. The top 3 in points all right there under a blanket. As Miles, not sure if he slipped up or something there, but Whitley and Carrington were able to get by. We can catch what happened here real quick. It's not who I'm looking for here. Oh, right there, Miles gets in there and his car gets tight. Not sure if there's some kind of aero deal there. Is he trying to get on the door of the 77 to slow him up, and it just sent him up the track. You definitely didn't see contact because there wasn't any kind of weird movement. So again, appreciate the viewers hanging out here on this Thursday night. We get ready for the weekend here, a couple of weekends away from Thanksgiving. Zach Rogers brings the 19 into pit road at lap number 86. Check back here at the 15th position. There's that old cinnamon toast crunch car. A little bit of a damage on the right side there. There's a little happy face on the back. An old paint scheme of Austin Bloom's, and I kind of made the comment to him about running that car again. Of course, Carrington was like, no! But here we are. As Miles working his way around the 22 of Craig Martin. 88 laps in the books. 55 to go. Make that 45 to go. Let's get some math here, Chris. See Justin Thompson at 3 car putting the pressure on the one of Miles. Of course, these two with a little bit of a different kind of respect for each other now after the issues last season at Pocono. They've worked their way out of it. And, you hear these two talking all the time after the race. I think they've got a respect for each other now out here on the track. Miles, pretty good run center off there. Gets a little loose there. I think caught some of that dirty air. The car just kind of got free on him. So we're at the lap 35 mark right now, so we should see more pit stops here in the next 5 laps. We did see some of the cars that did not pit under the first yellow, the first 2 yellows. Keith, Zach Rogers, Trey Holmes. Those are Trey Holmes actually already on pit road. So Rogers and Keith have already been on pit road. This should be the final round of pit stops. They're going to probably go another 5 laps or so to try to. And I think this could be interesting to see if these cars can get the rest of the way on fuel. Pitted at, most of them pitted 56, 57. I see 59s and 61s. So 30 to 35 laps ago. And if you get to lap 97, that would be 35 laps to go. So this could be interesting. Some people could try to pit from here, and all of a sudden they pit too early. And Joseph McCorder going a lap down, unfortunately, in the 73 car. Rough night for him on his return to the series after his real-life duties coming into play. Jose Ruiz, a little bit inside damage on that 23 car. Makes a pass for the 16th position. Well, good job on his part here as Thompson, you see, and Miles continue that fight for 4th. Will it be Matthew Weeks? Will it be Mark Whitley? Can Carrington get himself back into this championship race for the overall title? That might be more of a long shot than the Season 8 title. All Whitley got to do pretty much is finish this race in roughly 38 laps, and the championship will be his for 2024. Thompson doing a great job holding off Miles there, 0.2 of a second. As Dylan Rosenberg trying to work his way up after the contact earlier. 12th position there behind James Silvers, who's had a little bit of a struggle here this evening as leader on pit road. Matthew Weeks in the 11 car. Leo going to come in. Christopher Murphy there behind him. So here we go. The final round, potentially of pit stops. If this race were to stay green. As he will pull away 4 tires and fuel. 14.97 for Weeks. As here comes Carrington and Thompson on pit road. This should bring the leaders in next time by. More tires and fuel for all these cars. Spence Thompson, Justin Thompson on pit road. You're going to see Mark Whitley, Stephen Miles, and others coming to pit road now. Going to bring Steve Ritter around with them. 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. As Ritter brings his car to the pit stall, as you see Whitley there ahead. As Trevor McLaughlin comes to pit road, so does Austin Bloom. So, final round of green flag pit stops right here at lap 100. As Mark Whitley, 19-second stop. What happened? That could be crucial. Let's see if we can go back. See if I can rewind this a little bit and see if I spot anything. I didn't see anything, so did Mark not get fuel properly filled? That would be my immediate guess here. He gets into his pit stall clean. Right side tires going on. Jack Crew go to the left. Drops the car, and you notice he's still sitting there. So I wonder if something happened fuel-wise to where maybe he had an autofill or something set and it did not get the car completely filled, or something of the sorts like that happened. And that's going to cost him 5 seconds, which is a pretty good amount of time. Yeah, Silvers comes to pit road there. You saw Stan Carnathan also on pit road. That gives the lead to Jose Ruiz with 32 laps to go. As Ruiz comes to pit road, Tobin Keefe now going to go to the front with 31 laps to go. Ah, geez. Is he using an app or is that the iRacing Auto Fuel, Brantley? So I know that sometimes, what's the Race Labs, I think it is, sometimes they've had an issue with it too. So I'm not sure if he uses that or if it's the iRacing Auto Fuel. But Keith leads. Matthew Weeks going to move to second. Carrington third. Stephen Miles and Justin Thompson. Your top five. It is a 2-second lead from the 85 back to the 11. Wow, that's unfortunate. Yeah, the only time I've really ever trusted the iRacing Auto Fuel is during road course races. And that's obviously because it seems to be able to accurately tell you like how many laps you need of fuel or whatever to get to the finish on a road course, but it seems like the oval, it doesn't cooperate as well. That's unfortunate though for him. And speaking of the 77, it looks like he is going to be somewhere still in the 5th position, believe it or not. That's how spread out this field is. 5th spot here for the 77, so not a big penalty, but obviously it is going to affect him just a little bit. So a big shout out to Kakamora HR Management, ran by Stephen Melnick, who is the sponsor of tonight's race. Again, please don't clean your eyes or whatever, think something's wrong. That is the actual name of his company. And he shared the story a little bit ago under our last caution about his daughter coming up with the name. And yeah, well, speaking of Melnick, he's cutting the grass. He must have got hit by one of them Kakamora dart things. Of course, for those who have not seen the movie Moana, the little coconut-looking thingies on the boat, those are called Kakamora. And that's where the title comes from. And thanks for Melnick for becoming a premier partner of the All-American Cup Series, as Casey Carrington trails now as Matthew Weeks and others have been able to take the lead away. From the 85, and that's after Tobin came to pit road again at lap 105. We got 4 tires and fuel, so this is your... As a matter of fact, let's take you through the field real quick, and we'll show you where everybody is on the track. With 26 laps to go in this Queen City 200. Weeks leads it by 2.3 seconds over Casey Carrington. There's Weeks with Josh Dillon there behind him. There's Casey Carrington in the 9 car. Justin Thompson right behind him. Stephen Miles, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th right there with them. And then there's Mark Whitley. Whitley, 4.7, if I'm seeing the number correctly, back to, or up to Matthew Weeks. So Whitley's done a great job of trying to cut that lead down a little bit after what probably felt like an eternity on pit road. Steve Ritter, 6th position here. He is 5.6 seconds back. Spence Thompson in the 7th position. Nick Leo there in 8th behind Spence. Daniel Drew in the 9th position at Haviland, number 92 car. And there's Christopher Murphy in the 21 car running in the 10th position. Let's jump up here because Thompson and Miles are side by side for 3rd. Miles going to clear the 3 car, so move him up to the 3rd position as we continue on through the field. Dylan Rosenberg runs in the 11th position. This is 20 seconds back now from the lead as Nick Sargent in the 24 car runs 12th. There's James Silver's 13th position for the 17 car. Of course, James had a great start to the season, but unfortunately that has fallen off here in these last few weeks. So let's go to 2nd because Carrington now under attack as Miles looking to break through and get his 4th win of the season in what has been a breakthrough season for this 1 car. Can Miles get up to Matthew Weeks? 2 lap fresher tires for that 1 car. Miles winning a race last night, so would not be a surprise to see him go back-to-back 2 straight nights. Pretty spread out now. Still got 16 cars on the lead lap with Justin Ray being that last one. As Miles starting to kind of edge away here, it has chopped away that lead on Matthew Weeks to 1.9 seconds. Miles, Carrington, Thompson, your top 4. Whitley still 5th. And Whitley's been one of the faster cars out there on the track. It's 4.1 seconds now As I look at it, 31:30s pretty much across the board now. With 18 to go, these guys are done pitting, so it's a matter of can you save your tires for this little bit of a long run that's going to lead you to the finish of this Queen City 200 at Charlotte, presented by Kakamora HR Management. Again, next week it is Homestead, the final race of Season 8. There's 17 to go. And a race that only saw 3 cautions in the first 30 laps, and then otherwise it has been clean and green the rest of the way. There's Carrington trying to get back to Miles, who's knocked it down to 1.5 seconds now to Weeks. There's your last car in the lead lap now, Tobin Keefe, as he's going to go flying by the 23 of Ruiz for 17th. So there's Weeks right there as he's in front of the lap cars right here. 2.1 now back to Miles. Pretty fantastic race with all the pit strategies and stuff going on. As you mentioned earlier, entering this race, Weeks and Whitley led the all-time laps led here at Charlotte in this Gen 4 car. Whitley does have most of the wins to stand on. Matter of fact, Mark Whitley in 4 of his starts averages 2 wins at one or the other Charlotte Motor Speedway. So he's got a definite shot here as he gets closer and closer to Justin Thompson. The lead down to 1.6 seconds now between Miles and Weeks. Could you imagine if Whitley were to forget to fuel up the car and find a way to make up 5 seconds on pit road to win this race? So you see Whitley has caught the 3 of Thompson. And thank you, viewers, for hanging out on this Thursday evening. And what has been a couple of long days of work. On my end, I know it sounds familiar, but obviously a new system being launched at work. And of course, as you know, new technology systems unfortunately have little flaws. And it's unfortunately affected the captain, where he's been out delivering past 5 o'clock 2 straight nights. And hopefully Friday will go a little bit better, or else I'll be sleeping all weekend if anybody needs me. Oh, and caution is now. Oh, this changes things. Caution out, and I'm not sure, maybe doesn't look like it's for Leo and Giroux. They're still side by side here. I don't know where it's at. Oh, right there. Who is that spinning up ahead? Was it McCorder in the 73 that went around? I know he's also in a white car. Well, let's go to the pit road here real quickly. I'll figure it out here in a second. Silver is going to stay out. And the race off pit road, Casey Carrington, 2 tires. Weeks with 4 going to come out second. Miles, Thompson, Whitley, Ritter. As you see, as I pull up the timing tower, there's your pit time. Silver's, of course, staying out. The rest of the guys, 2 and 4 tires. Looks like 2 only for Carrington. So he's the only one that's going to try that different strategy here, which is either going to make him a hero or a zero here. So let's see if the caution is for, if I can get it to work with me here. The replays are not cooperating with me tonight too well. I have no clue. I can't figure it out. Like, who the caution was, but either way, somebody spun off turn 4. And a camera that would actually work here for this spotting. Let's see if we can find who it is. Was it the 45? That maybe. Nope, it wasn't him. I thought it might be Austin Bloom for a second. Caution's out right there. I have no clue. Mystery caution. The 98. You know, was it Tobin maybe? It was a white car, like I said. There's your winner. The 85 goes for a 360. My apologies to Mr. McCorder. I realize also he's been off the track, it looks like, for a few laps, so thought it might have been him. I know it was a white car. I couldn't tell. All right, this is about to get interesting now. So believe it or not, with the 4th caution, this has just officially became the 3rd highest cautioned race in Charlotte history in this series. Out of the 8 races, this is the first time since 2022 that an All-American Cup Series race has had more than 3 cautions at a Charlotte race. So how about that stat for you? That race was actually a Season 4 race that had the 10 cautions. Season 1 and Season 4. Well, who's going to win the Season 8 race? The Queen City 200 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. As James Silvers stays out, Casey Carrington restarts second with 2 tires, and here we go. 3 wide already into turn 1. as Weeks takes off. Whitley's moved to second, Miles to third, Thompson fourth, and Carrington fifth. Oh, and around goes Stephen Miles. He clipped the inside wall pretty hard. And that might be it. Oh no, he and Thompson get together. As Miles tries to stay into the top 20, 16th position for him, but this is going to open up the points lead big time. As Matthew Weeks going to come to the white flag, final lap. Drama at the end of this race. Going to put Matthew Weeks, it looks like, into victory lane, and Mark Whitley on path to win a third straight title. But first, Matthew Weeks gets to Queen City 200. And Mark Whitley finishing second. Going to open up this points lead to a potential insurmountable margin. And put himself in position to officially crown himself the 2024 season champion. As Weeks continues to celebrate. And for Matthew Weeks, his fourth win on the season, as he will separate himself now from the pack. As we will take a look at the final results here in a very eventful last couple of laps of this race. Take a look at the results if I can click on the right screens here. As Weeks wins it by 0.4 of a second over Mark Whitley. Justin Thompson third. Nick Leo fourth. Spence Thompson fifth. Daniel Giroux sixth. Dylan Rosenberg seventh. Christopher Murphy eighth. Zach Rogers and Steve Ritter your top 10. Nick Sargent 11th. Casey Carrington ends up 12th on the two-tire stop. Josh Dillon 13th. Justin Ray. James Silvers ends up in the 15th position. Stephen Miles 16th, unfortunately, after that contact. Craig Martin 17th. Ryan Strunk 18th. Tobin Keefe, Austin Bloom 19th and 20th. 21st, Jose Ruiz. Trevor McLaughlin 22nd. Stephen Melnick 23rd. Stan Carnathan 24th. And Joseph McWhorter 25th. Trey Holmes 26th. Mike Husby, Kyle Grayens, and Zach Tyler, unfortunately, did not start the race. And we'll go down here and talk to our top three drivers. Starting with the three car of Justin Thompson. As Thompson finishes in the third position here. Justin, obviously a tough race there for you. He ran up there in the top five most of the night, and obviously that late contact with Miles, but in the end, a third place finish for the three car.
It's not where I should be. That should have been Miles' spot.
Well, yeah, unfortunate.
I mean,
go ahead.
he got loose in front of me, and I was right on his bumper when he got loose. Man, there was nothing I could do. There was absolutely nothing I could do, because that was right when we're both getting back to the throttle, and his car just jumped sideways, and then it was like, bam, immediately. So I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But I was on a mission after that last restart. Whitley drove his car across my nose at the start. I mean, I spun the tires a little bit. I mean, we all spun the tires. And Whitley drug his left rear across my right front, and I was on a mission. I was trying to get back to Whitley's bumper, but just 2 laps too short for that.
Well, unfortunate deal there, and I know it's one that plays a big role when it's unfortunate in this situation. But let's talk for the race here for a second. Obviously, had that long green flag run, and those couple of pit stops in the end, and yeah, I know the finish in the start didn't go the way you want, but the middle part of the race, obviously, there was some pretty fun racing, it looked like.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. Setup on the car was, I mean, granted, there's a couple people it's tailored to, and unfortunately, I'm not one of the ones the setup's kind of tailored to. I couldn't get through 3 and 4 to save my life. I kept smoking the rear tires, trying to get off the 4. It didn't matter where I was trying to pick the throttle up, how easy I was trying to pick the throttle up. It didn't matter, dude. I was blowing the rear tires off of it, trying to get through 3 and 4.
Well, great job tonight, and send some shouts over you like to.
My wife for supporting my stupid habits and letting me act like a child on Thursday night. You for broadcasting. I know this is your retirement tour. I hate to see you go, but I mean, all good things must come to an end at some point. Casey for putting on the league. I know he's frustrated with the race tonight. It's a lot of money to put a league on. I mean, it's a huge investment, and it's a huge time investment, not just money investment. So, I mean, I really appreciate him putting the league up and giving us a place to run these cars, because this is the best Gen 4 league on the service, and well, if it gets shut down, I mean, it's going to be back to running official races just to even run this car and have fun with it, because you're not going to find another league this good.
Well, obviously, I know a tough situation tonight, but I appreciate your time, appreciate your transparent there. I know it's a tough situation, man, but we'll see you next week.
Yep. See you, buddy.
All right, bud. Justin Thompson. Obviously, you can hear the just the upsetness, I guess would be the right word to use there, and feeling pretty bad about the incident there with Stephen Miles, and obviously maybe a little frustration at the beginning of the race too. But either way, unfortunate circumstances happen, and but he's able to get himself a third place finish. But that contact with Miles looks like going to be the incident that opens the door here. For the championship, it looks like to come to the 77 car for a third straight season. Of course, he'll pretty much start next week, and we'll see what the numbers look like here when the race is over with. But needless to say, Mark, it looks like here at least the 2024 overall championship is definitely yours. But obviously getting closer and closer now to putting that exclamation point on a third straight championship with a second place finish tonight.
Yeah, pretty good night. Qualified up front, ran out front. The only really hiccup we had was the second green flag pit stop. Brantley over there, he forgot to tell the gas man we were filling it all the way up, and he. I noticed it right before they dropped the jack, and I'm like, "Oh, fill it up!" So like I had to let him re-engage, and it cost me probably about 4 or 5 seconds, I think. So probably came out so far behind, and I was starting to think, well, that opened the championship up again, because I think Miles was only like 15 points behind us, and I thought if he could go up there and catch Miles, I was running 5th at the time. Like that was I didn't know how the points were going to look out, but got a caution, and we just kind of went balls to the wall, and I don't know what happened to Miles. It looked like he got loose, or I don't know if he got into it to 3. I don't know what happened, but all I saw was him spinning in my mirror and hit the inside wall, and the next thing I know, Brantley was yelling at me not to overdrive it, not to spin it out. So, just tried to. I was trying my best to try to do something with Miles there. Not Miles, Matthew, but he's just a little bit too far out there. Maybe if I could have restarted a little bit closer, maybe could have done something with him. But, second place after a little bit of a hiccup in the middle of the race. Right now we're just points racing pretty much, trying to see what we can do, and hopefully it's going to be enough, because that's a good break. It sucks for him because he's been a hell of a competitor, but, got to take advantage when your adversaries falter, and hopefully we did about as good as we could.
Yeah, obviously, looks like I'm still waiting to. I know Case will get the numbers up here quickly, but I mean, still 31 points. There you go. So yeah, it's it's a pretty long stretch now. It looks like for anybody to catch it, and that's gotta be a pretty good feeling. Homestead, obviously, a track that I know last season, or I should say last year when we ran here. Obviously, we had some good luck for you guys, and now it's just one of those deals where you show up and. Looks like the pressure's off for the most part to just be able to go out there and win the race.
Yeah, it's these last few, the end of the season has really played into my wheelhouse, because we've went to Richmond. That's probably one of my top 3 tracks. We're going to Homestead. That's another top 3. We went to probably my top 3 were New Hampshire, Richmond, and Homestead, and we won 2 of those 3. And so far we're going to the last race, and we're having a big cushion. So. I ain't gonna say the pressure's off. We still got to perform, because if we get a big enough field, we can't just go out there and wreck on lap 1. So, just gonna be trying to maybe do what we did tonight: qualify up front, try to run up front, and just stay out of trouble. And hopefully, it's enough for us.
Well, it was a second place run for you tonight, and obviously, we'll see how this all transpires. But you said 31 points from first to second, and let's send some shout outs to whoever you like to.
Yeah, like I said, big shout out to Brantley. Spotting Colin's strategy on the rooftop. He just forgot to tell the gas man to fill it up there. So thankfully we caught the caution, and it negated that, but that was a little bit of a stressful moment in the middle of the race. It's just one of those things, the auto fuel stuff that's still kind of new, and it's just one of those things that happens sometimes. But big shout out to him. He does a great job spotting for me. He does all these awesome paint jobs for me and my teammates. Joe's running. I think he got into some trouble early in the race, but these awesome bad ass looking cars, and just check him out at harpoondesign.com. He does awesome work, and he really quick with it too. So check him out. Shout out to the league. We're 1 race away to finish the season. We're getting damn near 30 guys still showing up, and that's a testament to the league that Casey has built. Hopefully we can keep it going for next year. Shout out to you. I know you're not going to be broadcasting too much more, but it's been a pleasure racing on these, and glad to have at least one more on your network, because it's been a pleasure to meet you and hang out with you.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate everything you guys have done, and obviously your time and stuff. Congratulations on a second place run, and we'll see each other next week.
Sounds good.
Absolutely. Mark Whitley, second place finisher here tonight, but looks like on his way to a third straight league championship and a second overall championship in the All-American Cup Series. But the guy here, he's trying to Mark Martin a field, if you will. If you go back to the mid-90s, you'll get that reference where Mark Martin would show up in a Busch car and, well, beat the rest of the field and win. And that's what Matthew Weeks has done tonight in 9 starts. He gets his 4th win of the season. As Matthew, obviously a great race, a great long-run car, started towards the back and just worked your way up there and caught some breaks and able to go to victory lane again.
Yeah, it was good, and I'm glad you brought up that Mark Martin, because that's like my all-time favorite driver. So that's cool to hear. But yeah, it was a great race, great long runs. That's where I thrive, is long runs. So it felt good. Car was a handful to drive with the bumps. It surprised me how bumpy the track was with that car. So it was a joy, and it was cool to grab a win, one more win. You know, I didn't know if I was going to get another one. With you heading out, I wanted to win a race, knowing this was your last couple of broadcasts. And when I watched the YouTube video, I'm like, I'm going to do this Indy 500, and I don't care about the rest of the IndyCar races. I said I'm going to race All-American because he's leaving, and I'm going to try to get me a dub before he leaves, man. So I'm glad I was able to do that.
Well, obviously you did a great job this evening, and those restarts, especially that last one. Ooh, that was a little hairy. You had a car with that did not pit, a car with 2 tires, and then you and Mark pretty much going splitzeruski, or I guess there's a Scalinism for you, around those guys to take the lead. That had to be pretty fun, or hairy.
Yeah, I was scared because I was like, we went, I think, 25, 26 laps on tires, and the tires were really burning tonight. So I was worried with the Casey taking the 2. I was kind of scared about that, and then I noticed James stayed out, and I'm like, oh, this ain't good. I was like, I had this race in the bag, and I was scared. And then they launched really good, and I seen Casey get a little wiggly, and I'm like, okay, I'm underneath, and I'm like, I was like, already had it in my head. I was going to go 3 if James left me the room on the bottom going into 1, and I guess he launched good, but I guess his second gear wasn't as good, or his third gear wasn't as good as mine once he shifted up, and I just had a good launch right there, and I got underneath him, and I knew once I got underneath them, my tires would prevail, and after that, it was just drive as hard as I could and get away from Mark.
Well, obviously a great job here tonight. Congratulations on win number 4 this season, and it was hard to believe that you and Whitley actually came in tied with the most laps led at this track coming into tonight. So I guess you guys got that nice little battle to have with each other for next time you're here. But send some shouts wherever you like to.
I did not know that. That's a cool stat, man. I appreciate it. Shout out to my boy John Cutlip. I know some people know him and seen his work. He's doing Road to Pro now. JD Designs, hit him up on Twitter. He paints amazing schemes, and I know I keep bringing like one a new scheme, but this Mountain Dew is just so legendary in here. Everyone knows it's my scheme, so I backed out of that. So shout out to John for painting this beauty. My buddy Trey Holmes showed up tonight, and he was running real good. And someone got loose, I think, on the front stretch with a weird bump and hit him in the wall and destroyed his car. So I'm glad he showed up to race. It's cool to race against a good friend of mine. And shout out to you, Chris. I don't know if I never know if I'm going to get back in the booth next week because you don't know what's going to happen. But, I love your broadcast, man. It sucks to see you go, but understand, you got life and things you got to do. And we're going to miss you here in All-American. I know that. You've been a hell of a broadcaster the last couple of seasons. It's been fun up here in the booth, coming in here talking to you and getting to know you. You're a cool dude, man. I appreciate what you do. And Casey for the league, he runs a great league. I kind of heard his comment at the end of the race about, last week not doing it no more. I hope he doesn't do it. I enjoy All-American. This is probably the most chill league to race in because the other leagues I race in is just, it's a pay to entry. You're racing for money and a lot of quick guys, and it's just stress and a lot of egos. So you got to deal with a lot. It's just nice to come in here, relax, and have a good time with some good people. So shout out to those guys too that run the league and everyone that watched. It was a good race, good tire wear race, and that always makes it more interesting. So hope y'all enjoyed that race, and I'm gonna go watch it back now. Go give me some Taco Bell and watch it.
Well, I'm gonna leave you with this interesting nugget because I just updated the numbers. and it is now literally a 3-lap difference between you and Whitley in the laps led here at Charlotte. You lead by 3.
That's crazy. I think he was telling me tonight I led 3 laps more than him to take the most laps. So hell, we'll take it, dude. That's cool because Mark's a hell of a driver, man. I have mad respect for him, and he's always up there contending. And I think I raced him in a different league in Erskine. He was quick there a couple years ago, and he's always been a quick guy, and he's always raced with respect. So I enjoy racing him.
Yeah, there's a lot of comparable numbers there. It's some interesting stuff. I'm just kind of going through stat by stat, and it's like, wow. Well, great job, man. Congratulations, and go celebrate.
All right, man. Thank you. And you have a good one, Chris. Hope to speak to you next week again.
Sounds
dude.
good. We'll talk either way. So good job, man.
Sounds good, man. You have a good one.
You too. Matthew Weeks, the winner here tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Congratulations to him on winning the Queen City 200 presented by Kakamora HR Management as he celebrates his 4th win of the season. And adds himself to the list of winners here at Charlotte too now as I look at it. Now the 6th winner in 7 races. Mark Whitley with 2 wins at Charlotte, 1 at the old, 1 at the new. Carrington on that list, Cody McCorkle on that list also. So, all right, let's get you the point standings and what it looks like. You kind of heard us talking about it there for a second. It is a 31-point advantage from Whitley now to Stephen Miles. So, obviously one of those deals where Whitley just needs to show up and just get a good solid finish, and it's pretty much his for the championship when it's all over with here. Stephen Miles, 20 points ahead of Casey and Carrington, so kind of a similar spot for him to show up, and he'll be able to lock up that 2nd position, which I know is not what he wants, but still a great career year for Miles to get those 3 wins. Of course, Carrington right there trying to get back into victory lane here this season. Thompson 4th, Silvers in 5th. So got a couple of good battles here as you work your way down to the top 15. So we'll wrap it all up at Homestead coming up next Thursday night. Hopefully you can join us at 8:15 for that. Otherwise, we're going to head out and go to sleep. Appreciate Kakamora HR Management and Stephen Melnick for sponsoring this race and being a premier partner for the series. Big thanks to All-American Cup Series and Casey Carrington for all the hard work he puts in, and you kind of heard Justin say this, and I'll say it myself as somebody who used to have a league myself back in the day, and obviously doing the networking stuff. This kind of thing takes time, I can understand where Casey's frustrated and stuff, and that kind of thing. So obviously this is something that none of us really ever have to do. But we do it because we love this kind of thing. We love racing. We love broadcasting, in my case, and so on and so forth. So I will add to what Justin said and say thank you myself to what Casey has done in this series. He has one of the best series on iRacing. And it's an absolute pleasure to be able to come in here on Friday night or Thursday night or whatever night to do it. So I appreciate what he does and all the racers and all the viewers, obviously. Appreciate you guys. We're going to head out. We'll see you Monday night. Next time we'll be on the air for a league race. Otherwise, we'll see you next Thursday here at Homestead for All-American Cup Series Racing. So remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain eSports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.